Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another interesting edition of the program CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievements of the Corporate Affairs Commission. My name is Amina Jibril. Coming up on the program, Registrar General harps on the need for stakeholders to avoid sharp practices while dealing with the Commission. One of Nigeria's oldest and renowned law firms applauds CAC's digitization efforts, donates laptops to complement the Registrar General's giant strides. Plus, person with significant control, PSE, comes under focus. Stay tuned for details of those right after this break. Welcome back. The Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, has harped on the need for stakeholders to avoid sharp practices while dealing with the Commission. Alhaji Garba Abubakar stated this while receiving the President of the Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, Taiwo Olowo-Kolade, FCIS, on a courtesy call to the Commission. The Registrar General, who charged stakeholders, who are mostly lawyers, accountants and charter secretaries, to strictly adhere to professional ethics, said the Commission was often bombarded by, sometimes, manifestly forged documents at the point of registration. He therefore stressed that the Commission was ready to take drastic measures against any erring professional, adding that upon the implementation of the CAMA 2020, the CAC registration portal had placed more responsibilities on professionals acting on the authority of their clients, believing that they would do the right thing. The Registrar General, however, commended the Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria for maintaining professional ethics in their conduct and congratulated them for their reintegration on the CAC Governing Board by the CAMA 2020. He assured them of the Commission's continued support and cooperation and used the forum to congratulate the newly inducted CAC staff by the Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Speaking earlier, the President of the Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, Taiwo Olowo-Kolade, FCIS, applauded the reform initiatives of the Commission and pledged their continuous support and cooperation with the CAC. He stated that the Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria was dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration in Nigeria, adding that it was also a member of the Corporate Secretaries International Association, CSIA, a Hong Kong registered global organization dedicated to developing and growing the study and practice of secretarieship to, amongst others, improve professional standards. Taiwo Olowo-Kolade therefore assured that the Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria members would continue to adhere strictly to professional ethics in the discharge of their responsibilities. It would be recalled that 14 members of staff of CAC were admitted through the Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria Fast Track in 2021 and inducted as associates of the Institute on Friday, 23rd July 2021. Now, at the induction ceremony, Tolulokpe Adiola Shonaike, the Assistant Director Registry CAC, was appointed Deputy Governor of the 2021 class, which had over 250 members comprising both regular and fast-track inductees. Highlights of the visit included the exchange of pleasantries. And now moving on. In a bid to complement the reform initiatives of the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, one of Nigeria's oldest and renowned law firms, Olajide Oyewole LLP, donated laptops to the CAC. The firm, which prides itself as one of the largest law firms in sub-Saharan Africa, leading the market in client-centric innovation, said it had keenly followed the recent progress being made by the CAC, particularly the reform initiatives being championed by the Registrar General, Alhaji Garba Abubakar. Olajide Oyewole LLP maintained that the Registrar General, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, deserved a pat on the back in view of his commitment and dedication towards improving the Commission's services through the implementation of far-reaching reform. Now presenting the laptops to the CAC on behalf of the firm, Samuel Salako, a partner, acknowledged the challenges associated with working remotely and stressed that stakeholders have a responsibility to complement the efforts of the Commission within available resources. Salako therefore enjoined stakeholders to continue to partner with and support CAC's reform initiatives to enable it to provide more efficient services to customers and to operate at par with the best company registries around the globe.
We believe that for the Commission to work, and for our work, to also progress, we need to assist the Commission. We know the challenges, especially with remote working. The Commission will always require equipment, and we believe that the least we can do to facilitate the work of, instead of just complaining that things are slow, why can't we assist? Because we are partners in progress, and we have to make sure that everybody, work hand in hand to ensure that the challenges are overcome. If you look at remote working, how can you do remote working without equipment like a laptop? We believe all this contribution will help.
Responding, the Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, noted with delight the support of the Olajide Oyewole LLP, adding that the gesture would go a long way in complementing the efforts of the Commission as its officers continue to work remotely. Garba Abubakar reiterated his commitment to improving service delivery and to check the activities of some stakeholders who often attempt to compromise the system by providing doctored newspaper publications or means of identification, amongst others, at the point of registration. He therefore called for continued support and cooperation with the Commission as it continues to improve its services to customers and the public. High points of the visit was the presentation of the laptops. Moving on now to CAMA 2020 matters. You may recall that on the 3rd of January 2021, the Corporate Affairs Commission commenced the implementation of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, alias the Game Changer. In a bid to keep the public abreast with some of its reforms made pursuant to the CAMA 2020, the CAC immediately reinvigorated its enlightenment campaign on the provisions of the CAMA 2020 via appearances on several TV and radio programs, amongst others. In continuation of the Enlightenment campaign, the Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, recently appeared on a flagship program of Nigeria Info, Abuja, The Sunny Side. During the 1-hour slot, the Registrar General entertained no less than 17 questions from listener, calling or WhatsApp messaging from within and outside the country. While most of the questions were centered on how to register companies online on their own, others sought for guidance on how to resolve queries and other challenges encountered while interfacing with the CAC's enterprise software, Companies Registration Portal, CRP, which allows end-to-end registration service.
A name other than your forename and surname without registration. For every day that you operate, there's a penalty that you have to pay. And you may even be arrested.
So as an individual, if I render a service and I don't register...
If you render a service in your name, personal name,
yes,
you don't have issues.
No registration.
There is no limitation because a human being has unlimited capacity. You can do anything that is legitimate, that is legal.
That's the lawyer in you speaking.
But if you are using, if you add, maybe you say, Debbie Broadcaster. That's not your name.
Oh.
Or Debbie Ventures.
Okay.
Or Debbie Enterprises. Or Debbie and Sons.
Okay.
You have added some words, so you must register.
Oh.
But if you are using your own full names, you don't have issues. It behoves the person dealing with you, whether he's satisfied to deal with you as an individual. Because there may be other individuals that have identical names like you. And he has no way of verifying sometimes because there is no central register that he will check and match your identity with another person's identity. So that's the beauty of having your names and details in a central register of businesses that anybody can verify.
Now moving on to anti-corruption fight of the present administration. You may also recall that His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, had during the London Anti-Corruption Summit held in 2016 promised, amongst others, the introduction of stringent rules and regulations on the registration of beneficial or shell companies and disclosure of their transactions. That solemn pledge came to fruition with President Muhammadu Buhari's assent of CAMA 2020, which made provision for the CAC to open a register of beneficial ownership or persons with significant control, PSC. Now, Mr. Adiola Tolulokpe Shonaike, the Assistant Director Registry, brings us up to speed on the PSC concept. Enjoy watching this interview.
Good to have you on the program again.
Thank you, Madina. Good morning.
I know a couple of weeks back we talked about how minority investors or shareholders will be protected. Now today we're talking about people with significant control.
Yes.
Before we go into the percentages, that you are supposed to for you to become a person with significant control. Who is the person with significant control to start with?
Okay, now a person with significant control, a PSC for short, is any person who is able to exercise significant influence over the management or control of a company or a limited liability partnership. The limited liability partnership, like we said earlier, is yet to come on board, but very soon it will come on board before the end of the year.
We do understand that it's a new concept, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Why is it coming on board now?
At this time? Well, you find that globally there's been concerns for increased interest in transparency in how corporates, companies, limited liability partnerships are managed, And these concerns have necessitated more interest in corporate managers. So today you want to know, beyond knowing those who own or control a company, you want to also know whether there are some people who are not on record, who actually control or exercise some form of influence, significant ones, on these managers, on the people who think control these companies. The information on persons with significant control, you'll find it particularly useful when in the fight against money laundering, in the fight against tax evasion, in the fight against terrorism financing, and generally to control movement of illicit funds, whether within a jurisdiction or outside jurisdiction. It can be within a country or even cross-border. So that's why it has become very, very necessary that keener interest, a closer scrutiny should be given to those who actually determine or influence how companies, how limited liability partnerships are managed.
Okay. But another concern is that once you have a 5% in a company, then you're a person with significant control. That's the PSC. But is it also fair for somebody who has 30, 40, 50%, and then you are now comparing somebody with 5%, putting them on the same level? Is the law really being fair?
Yeah, but what the law is doing is what you call like a trigger point, right? It's not like you are putting them on any equal pedestal. What the law is saying is that if anybody holds up to 5%, or satisfy, that is just one of the conditions, or satisfies any other condition among the prescribed ones.
Okay, so when we go to the condition, maybe we might understand better why
just give us the
5%,
information. Just give us the information that this person is a person of interest to the law.
Okay. Must all companies have the PSC, people with significant control?
No.
Okay.
No, because you must have satisfy one of those 5 conditions.
Okay.
To become a person with significant control, to be so classified, right? It's, however, very difficult, considering the conditions prescribed in CAMA, that a company would not have at least one person with significant control. It's going to be very difficult, except in the cases of companies that will probably have more than 25 shareholders, and you hardly find that in private sector. You hardly find people with 20 to 25 shareholders in the private system. So it's very, very unlikely that there would be one person at least that would be a person of significant control, who
satisfy at least one of the conditions listed in Section 868 of CAMA.
Okay, so now let's go to the conditions.
Okay, these conditions are for determining, like I said, are provided in Section 868, and there are 5 of them.
Okay.
And the 5 conditions are disjunctive; they are not cumulative. By that, I mean that it is just enough if you satisfy one of these conditions. You don't have to satisfy more than one.
Okay.
Once one of these conditions is true about you, then you are a person with significant control.
But it will be a condition that is important among others.
Yes,
Or
I mean
just
the 5 conditions are important.
Okay.
The 5 conditions emphasize control, influence.
Okay.
No matter the name you are called, whether you are on record with the CAC or not, or in any other statutory return, it doesn't matter. What will matter is that you are able or you have the right to exercise some form of control over decisions, over the board, over the management of that entity. And that will qualify you as somebody with significant control.
Okay, so now let's come to the issue of how does the commission know a person with significant control as far as the limited liability and partnership is concerned? That's the LLP.
Yes, and the companies.
Company, yeah.
Yes. Now, let me mention that both at registration and post-registration, right, the only information available to the commission, that will be disclosed on their faces will be information about shareholding. Now, information about shareholding only addresses the first of the 5 conditions. That is the most common condition, right? But the more abstract conditions are the other 4. Now, they will not be available on the forms that are submitted to CAC. They will not be available on the Memorandum and Association. They will not be available on the agreement, for in the case of limited liability partnerships. They will just be as disclosed by these entities, So that is where the challenge is. The other 4 conditions, which are more abstract, it's also not impossible that this commission may be able to determine in the case of voting rights. Sometimes it may just be in the supporting documents, in memorandum and all of that, right? But the other 3 certainly is not an information that is available or easily determined by the commission. And that is why, as a post-incorporation obligation, the Companies and Allied Matters Act imposes a duty to disclose in the first instance on the person himself. Okay. So that once a person attains that status, satisfies any of these 5 conditions, is under a duty, a statutory duty, to immediately notify the company that he has become a person with significant control. Okay. Now, is to do this within 7 days of becoming that person. That company will not notify, or the limited liability partnership will not notify the CAC in turn that so and so person has become a person with significant control. Okay. And then that disclosure from the company, like I said, must be made within 1 month. Okay. And there's a form for that. Okay. The form is designated from CAC MISC, meaning miscellaneous. Okay. Right. 01. 01. Yes, okay. That is the notice of person with significant control. Okay. And then beyond that particular notice, right, every company and limited liability partnership is obligated under the law again to include information on persons with significant control in their annual returns to the commission.
So can the status of a PSC change?
Oh yes, because of the dynamics and of corporates, corporations and all of that.
Corporate governance,
yes, and things will change. Decisions have to be taken, particularly decisions regarding control, decisions regarding shareholding and all of that. When this happens, again, what
because that leads me to the next question. In, what if the person fails to notify the commission?
Well,
especially under the limited liability partnership and the limited partnership.
Companies, right? I mean, that obligation is severe and sacrosanct. Now, there are sanctions both against the person himself for refusing or failing to tell the company that he has become a person with significant control, and there is also a penalty, a sanction against the company for failing or refusing to notify the commission. And that penalty is a daily one. It runs daily against the person or the company and its directors, as the case may be.
How severe
Now,
is the penalty?
Now, the penalty is, the rates are in the regulations, depending again on the size of the company.
Okay.
You know, it's more severe when the size of the company is bigger. For instance, we have 4 classifications, in fact 3 generally. You have the small company, you have the company other than small, but it's still a private company.
Okay.
And you have, and that's, with that one, you always classify companies limited by guarantee as one of them,
Okay.
right? And then you have the public companies.
That's the PLC.
Yes. Now you now understand, talking about companies limited by guarantee, you now understand why shareholding cannot be the major parameter, you know, for determining in case of companies.
Okay.
Because companies that are limited by guarantee do not have shareholdings, right? But they vote, they have voting rights, and they have directors and the boards, you know. So those are the considerations, those are the 4 who apply to them, you know, and they may qualify under any of them. Now, talking about the severity, back to it. Now, for small companies, the amount in daily penalty is lower. It's 250 naira
Per day.
against the person per day, or the company, as the case may be.
Okay.
Now, in case of other companies that are not small but are private and companies limited by guarantee, it's 500 naira daily.
Okay.
Now, when you now come to PLCs,
okay.
it's 1,000 naira daily. Now, that is
8,000
huge.
naira.
Yes,
Okay.
that is huge.
Okay.
Right? Because whether you take it or not, at one point or the other, we will know.
Okay.
And we will know that you did not disclose.
Okay.
So
it will
and
be
then,
calculated until it is disclosed.
until it is disclosed.
Okay.
And then for the person who has refused or failed to notify the company, that person also runs the risk of imprisonment for 6 years if convicted, particularly under a limited liability partnership.
Okay.
You know. But then, coming back to the obligation to disclose.
Yes.
You know, because when these changes occur, you are obligated to disclose to the commission. Again, we're talking from the person to the company,
Okay.
and then from the company to the commission. From the person to the commission, if the changes occur, you should let the company know. From the person to the company, you should let the company know within 7 days.
Okay.
And the company should in turn let the commission know within 1 month of such changes occurring. You know, beyond the duty to notify, there's also a duty on the company to maintain a register for persons with significant control. You may decide to maintain that register different from your register of members. You may also decide that no, that information, you want to collapse it into the same register of members. What will matter is that there must be an indication in the register that so and so person is now a significant person with significant control. And you must indicate how that person became such, whether it is by shareholding, whether it is by voting rights and all of that. And when there is a change, you must also indicate the date of that change and what has changed. Now, beyond the company maintaining a register, the section also imposes a duty on the commission. Commission itself is under a duty to maintain a register, you know, of persons with significant control. And the information generally on PSC, it's free and it's open to the public. Yes.
So no cost attached.
No cost attached. In fact, when you do...
It's only when it comes to penalty that there's cost.
Yeah. In fact, when you do a general search on the portal, you know, at search.cac.gov.ng, you will see it when telling you, it will give you the basic information about the company. And then it will also tell you persons with control. If there are persons with control in that company, once you click on it, it will show you.
As we wind down, how will all of these impact businesses, the business environment?
Now, the main value that this will add is that there is increased transparency in ownership and control of businesses, whether as a company or as a limited liability partnerships. So this, what you call incognito holding of shares, you know, masquerading behind somebody to control a company, will be reduced. Because if you have a duty to inform and you don't inform, you, like I said, beyond the penalty that accrues to you daily, there's also the risk of imprisonment. So there is no longer things like asset shielding. We know those who own these things. You know, so it will help us combat asset shielding. It will help us combat money laundering, particularly when it comes to proceeds of crime and you try to move that money, those proceeds, using the cover of a company or the cover of a limited liability partnership, or even an incorporated trustee, NGOs and all of that,
Yes.
because they are also under an obligation to disclose, generally in most jurisdictions, Now, because an NGO can qualify as a person with significant control in a company, because they can hold shares in companies. So that era of doing things under the cover of corporates, were different. Hide and seek, not day again. At least it's been reduced. So if you go and hide and we seek and find you, these sanctions are severe.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Mr. Tolulokwe Adeola Shonaika, thank you very much indeed for your time, sir.
Thank you, Medina.
All right.
And on that note, we wrap up this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Now remember, for comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helpline. Remember, on Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is at cservice@cac.gov.ng. You could visit our website at www.cac.gov.ng. You could also reach us via our helplines and the numbers 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971, 090-874-01598 or 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Do join us next week for another interesting edition of the program. Same time and same station. From me, Amina Jabril, and the whole team here, it is bye for now.